was just really funny. His bit was great. So
Okay.
that's all.
Welcome to the Spin 70 podcast. I'm Shalom Makowitz.
I'm Yehuda Makowitz.
We have a very special guest. You can introduce yourself.
My name is Brandon Fisher. I'm honored and excited to be on this podcast with you guys.
Yeah, we're very honored and excited to have you on. I'm super, super interested to learn more about you and how you live your life.
Not exactly.
Did you get it?
I still got it. Just go. Okay, go ahead.
And so on and so forth. So
I might need an energy drink to match your energy level. Yeah,
my energy level?
No.
Oh, his energy level. Yeah, me too. So
Some people drink beer for that.
All right. Well, I'll drink.
We're not those kinds of people. As he guzzled down
I don't know.
beer.
Simchat Torah was something.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude. Let's not.
I'm almost better.
Simchas Torah. Yeah, we like to party. Like ever since we were kids, we loved Simchas Torah. We loved Purim.
We're just really good at partying.
we loved weddings. I love weddings. Yeah. Like that's actually I was at a meal. You were at the meal. Were you at the meal? No, I was at something else. I was at a different meal, and people were talking about what's your favorite mitzvah is. And the first thing I said was that my favorite mitzvah was dancing at weddings, being misameach chassan and kala,
Yeah.
making a
It's a good
bride
one.
and groom happy. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
It's a good one.
It's a great mitzvah.
It's an awesome mitzvah, especially and speaking of which, like this is a good segue into the conversation. It is literally embracing living in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, living,
Totally.
being adventurous, as we would say.
Oh, wow. That was quite a stretch. I'll give
Yeah.
it to you, though.
But anyways, I want to start off by saying that I'm super, super jealous that you've traveled 18 countries. I'd like to know like how you did that, what your story is behind it, where you've been, and I want to hear like let's just start there.
Cool. Yeah. I studied hospitality in college, and my whole life, for my bar mitzvah theme was a hotel. It was the V-Fish Inn, and which is really weird who has a hotel themed bar mitzvah, but I actually did, and I just for some reason loved to work in the hospitality industry and love traveling. I think that's less surprising.
I also love traveling.
Have you ever seen the Grand Budapest Hotel?
The movie?
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you'd love it.
I should definitely watch it.
If you like the hospitality business, you would love
We
that
actually
movie.
saw I don't know if it's a real hotel, but we saw some pretty nice hotels in Budapest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Budapest is amazing.
You've been?
So Budapest is one of the places.
Yeah.
We
That's
can't
a,
stop
fave.
talking about Budapest.
that's a good story. That's a good place to start about my travels. So I went to Israel and pretty much my junior year for a trip called Akiva, and it was a life-changing trip for me. I went home from that trip and decided to start wearing a kippah all the time, keeping Shabbat at least by not using my phone. And this was a pretty big moment for me, and coming
Yeah.
back to my family, which was conservative growing up, they had a lot to say. So it was very interesting. And the week I came back was the deadline for studying abroad. And I didn't want to go. I was the president of my Hillel. I was making a big, I was doing a lot there. I was happy to work with them. My best friends were all in college.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know anyone studying abroad. And the only place available was Austria. And Austria is pretty much the only thing I knew about it was The Sound of Music. I don't know.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah, and that's pretty much it. So I was actually inclined to say no, but my parents made me apply, and so I applied, and then I got accepted in the last spot that was available in studying abroad. And it took a few months before I decided to go abroad, and it came down to one bit of advice that a friend of mine ended up giving me. She visited me in Florida and said, "Which decision's harder?" And I thought that was really weird advice. between staying in Florida, staying in college, staying in what's familiar, versus studying abroad, which was obviously the harder decision. I didn't even own a winter coat. I didn't own a winter coat.
You're from Florida.
Yeah.
We won't hold it against you.
I mean, I lived in Maryland growing up, but we vacationed to Florida, and I spent 4 years at that point in Florida. So, yeah, I had no idea what it was going to be like. It was definitely the harder decision, but it's weird to get that advice.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Maryland is respectable. Florida is like not, but Maryland's
What does that even mean? I would rather go to Florida than Maryland.
I know, but
I don't understand. Unless that was was that a joke?
Yeah.
And they say he's the funny one.
Nobody says that.
So you went to study abroad in Austria.
Yeah, so I made the most of that last semester, and then I left all my friends, studied abroad in Austria, and my two closest friends there were Turkish Muslim girls, and they were they're still two of my best friends.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so
Nice.
there was I'll fast forward to this trip and bringing in Budapest into this. Our spring break trip that year, because we would travel every weekend, was Munich to Prague to Auschwitz, and then to Budapest, which I didn't expect it to. I didn't know what to expect. I'm traveling with two Turkish girls and two Mexicans, so I was the only Jewish person, and
You were the only American.
I was also the only American. Yeah. So we get to Prague, and they have this clock tower. First of all, you do a walking tour there. Have you been to Prague?
Not yet.
Okay, so you go to Prague, and the Jewish quarter used to be very poor, but Hitler decided to save it. He didn't ruin it. He didn't destroy any synagogues there because he was trying to preserve it to be a museum of how the Jews once lived. So
Really?
you're there. It's very eerie, very weird.
Huh. That doesn't sound like a Hitler thing. to
No,
be
it's
honest.
totally a Hitler thing. You don't remember we went to the Holocaust Museum with Avi, and we covered that. Yeah, they were
Oh, yeah, you're right.
saving artifacts.
Yeah, correct.
to-
That's right. My bad. Okay.
To show how this race once lived, this primitive race, and
Totally a German thing to do.
yeah.
Yeah. You're right. Okay, continue.
So it was very surprising to see all of that and weird to feel that way. Then you get on and you keep walking on the tour, and there's this clock tower that's supposed to be the second most disappointing thing to see in Europe, behind the Mona Lisa, apparently.
That's
They say-
disappointing.
Second most disappointing thing.
Right. Because it's so overhyped, apparently. It's so hyped. And then you get there and it's like, oh, this is the Mona Lisa? I didn't see the Mona Lisa. I didn't go.
Wow.
But I heard it's very small.
The
Surprisingly.
Mona Lisa?
The Mona Lisa.
I mean, there's a lot about the Mona Lisa which is really interesting.
Right. The more you look
That
into it.
might be a man, for instance.
Really?
Yeah. I've
Yeah, you
heard
never
that.
heard that?
No.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's,
that would throw things off.
yeah, there's.
Because if she smiled, they would totally give it away. It's definitely a man.
Interesting.
Well, she is smiling, but
I mean, she's like smirking.
she's smirking.
It's like a half smirk.
But there's like a, if you go to look at it, there's a lot of stuff going on with it, and so you have to really, you do your research before you go. But yeah.
Yeah, you definitely you have to do some research. Anyway, I didn't do any research before this trip, so I see this clock and I didn't know to be disappointed or not. But on the clock, there's the 4 things that they were most afraid of in the 1200s, and which is when they made the clock, or the 12th century, etc. So they have death, like a skeleton, makes sense.
Obvious.
Then they have a Turkish guy who's like playing the guitar because it represented free
Free speech.
free thinking, yeah.
Free thinking. Really?
Freedom
Yeah.
of expression.
So here I am. It's me and these 2 Turkish girls, and then they're on the clock. And then the next one over is a Jew holding a money bag. And you're like,
Damn.
wow, we're representing 2 of the biggest fears of Europeans at the time period.
Wow. And what was
So-
the,
I honestly-
the fourth one was?
I don't
what?
even remember the 4th one,
Ah, bummer.
which is not good.
Not stepping on cracks.
Hey, Sean, would you mind being our Jamie and finding out the Austrian clock tower?
Yeah.
It's Prague.
Prague.
Prague,
I'll
right?
check it out.
Prague.
But I don't understand. Like the Jew thing, I definitely understand. Turkish.
Because they represented classical thinking, and they were, I guess they weren't Christian at the time. I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. No.
They definitely
Turkish
weren't
is-
Christian.
Yeah, there's a very rich history of war in that
Right.
between that region
Yeah.
and the other one.
There were
Didn't that sound
multiple
really knowledgeable?
It did.
Oh,
A
wow,
major
look at
history
it.
of war.
Okay, there's death. There is like 6 of them.
Oh,
Are there?
No, 2, 4, 6. There's 8 of them.
oh, nice.
There's
For that move, though.
Yeah, oh, so this is what we're looking at here, right?
The ones at the top, I think.
So this is death.
Right. That's the Turkish guy.
dude. There's the Jew. That looks like me. And this is someone who's like looking at himself in the mirror.
Vanity.
Vanity.
Oh, vanity. Okay.
Okay, and then there's the bottom ones. I don't know if those are applicable. I think this is Michael the angel. I think
That doesn't look
Yeah.
like something to be scared of.
No, I'm sure.
No.
no,
It's just
I'm
a
sure
religious
what
thing.
it is it's like an offsetting of
That's really
things.
interesting.
Like one Michael's supposed to protect you from vanity or something.
Oh, so I guess on top it's about the bad stuff, and on the bottom if it's like the base of.
Might
the,
I?
That's
might I
really
check
interesting.
that out?
That's cool.
I'm
Right.
interested.
So that was pretty shocking, and you see how anti-Semitism in Europe didn't just develop, right before the Holocaust. The Holocaust was merely the climax, and it took centuries and
Yeah,
centuries. And
for
it was
sure.
fascinating for me, traveling as the only Jew with these groups, to understand this and see it through those lenses.
Yeah.
What I find actually is a huge pet peeve of mine. Did you want to see it or?
Oh, I saw it.
Okay.
He was there.
Yeah, right. I forgot. A huge pet peeve of mine is when people say stuff like, if Hitler wasn't around, the Holocaust would have never happened. I was like, yeah, probably still would have happened.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely anti-Semitism.
I mean,
that wasn't.
Yeah,
something
but
that
history
started.
always repeats itself. Like if it wasn't Hitler, it would have been someone else. Also,
Right.
even people don't recognize that Stalin killed like I think 3. What is it like? How many? 300,000 of his own people?
No,
Three-
God, no, 50 million.
50 million. I didn't want to say an egregious number, but I knew. Yeah, he killed 50 million of his own people. How many people do you think were Jews? Did he even care?
I mean,
You know what I'm
so the
saying?
thing
that
is,
was around the
you
same
weren't-
time. Then you have
yeah.
Mussolini as well.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's an insane amount of people died in the 20th century. World War One, just for starters.
Yeah.
Actually, a really cool thing about World War One. Did you know that more people died from influenza than they died from like actual action?
I had no idea.
Isn't that
Whoa.
crazy?
There's
So
actually
everybody get your flu shots.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a really cool World War One documentary that I want to see. I'm trying to see what it's called. It's in color.
Oh, World War II in color, I think.
No, it's World
No,
War
no,
World
it's
War
One.
One in
World War
color?
One.
It's World
Oh,
War
I know
One.
what you're
It's
talking
called When
about.
They Were Young or something.
Oh.
Something like that. It just came out.
Oh yeah,
It looks
I heard about
incredible.
that. It looks really good.
I gotta find it. Okay, I'll find it. Whatever. I need to see it. Anyways, so you went to Prague. You saw. So continue.
So yeah,
please.
Prague, you saw how anti-Semitism was always a thing. It wasn't just something that popped up when Hitler came, Then
Yeah.
I went to Auschwitz, where you literally see the devastation, and it's just
Absolutely.
huge and shocking. You
Probably
take
very, very humbling as well.
this humbling, it's an undescribable feeling to see when you go in there and you see the hair, and there's a room just full of hair.
Oh,
and
seriously?
suitcases. Yeah.
I never went to Auschwitz, and all I saw were the gates and the railroad tracks. I never.
Yeah.
You went
I don't know
to
exactly. It's like a museum.
Well, there's two parts. There's Auschwitz I, which was where that's actually still preserved. They still have the barracks. That's where you see that the famous sign.
yeah.
Yeah.
Work
Work
will
makes
set you free.
Work will set you free.
Yeah.
So they have that still, and that's where they have the suitcases and the hair. But that's just the museum.
You know
that was
that's a replica, right?
I believe it. I'm
Yeah.
not surprised.
It-
The
the-
sign, right?
Yeah.
The sign was stolen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you ever at Yad Vashem, by
Yeah.
the way?
Yeah, I was there this summer.
Oh wow.
It's very
So-
Recently, yeah.
yeah.
This might be an odd question, but you mentioned how when at your bar mitzvah you had like a traveling thing, and you've always been into hospitality and traveling around the world, and you did some traveling. I'm sure you have a lot more in your future. Before you went on this trip and before you went to Austria, what can you say that you learned on a personal level about yourself on these trips and with these people Like, who were you before, and who were you as you came out of that experience?
Sure. Definitely gained a ton of knowledge because I studied hospitality. I vacationed growing up my whole life. And what I realized is that people travel in Florida specifically for three main reasons. To get away, to have a beach vacation, to sip a pina colada, sit in a hammock, and just relax, enjoy the beach. It's really nice. Great vacation.
Yeah.
So that's one. Number two is the theme parks, which is to get away from reality again and enter kind of a fantastical world that was created for you, right? It's very fun.
Absolutely.
They did a great job. Disney is incredible at what they do. Universal, I mean, our school was pretty much sponsored by them.
Yeah.
So I learned all about that. And then the third is conventions. That's the third one that we learned specifically in Florida because there's a ton of conventions there, which is...
Naturally.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But what I didn't learn is that there's a whole other side of the industry where you can go on a vacation and grow and learn and improve yourself. So
go on a self-journey.
Self-journey trips. I would actually put ski vacations along those lines. Because,
Would you?
Yeah. You're going up there to improve at a sport, to improve at something, and there's
Makes
so much to
sense.
learn from it.
You mean, yeah, that's interesting. I never looked at skiing that way.
I mean,
Yeah, you grew up in
we always
Colorado.
we took day trips, you know.
Yeah,
when
we're
we were
not
kids.
super skiers. I think whenever we went skiing, I really enjoyed staying in the cabins or the hotels with the heated pools. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I loved those vibes. Skiing
Yeah, it was really
itself,
fun.
like I'm native of Colorado. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean,
Skier.
you can ski, like
There's no way I'm strapping two cardboard things on my feet and sliding down a mountain. It's not happening.
it's more carbon fiber.
Carbon
Yeah, definitely don't do
fiber.
cardboard. You want to avoid that one.
I started off with cardboard.
Yeah, you know, it's a
I
native
duct
thing.
taped into my feet.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for
No wonder you don't like it. Yeah.
I think it really is like it's a tourist sport. Like people who live here all their lives. I know a lot of people who do ski, but like, I don't know. After like 3 hours, you're going down the mountain.
Yeah, it never really took to us.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it, but
The best time I ever had skiing, I ever went skiing, was when we went night skiing in Keystone.
Cool. I've never
That
done
was
it.
amazing.
I don't think I did that.
Yeah, you were with us.
I was there?
'Cause He used to be a great skier. I used to be the one that was lagging behind.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
He was a great skier. But yeah, we went night skiing. You were there. We went night skiing. It was amazing. But like, I really like. I mean, I want to hear about what you did around, like what you learned around when you traveled around the world. But the fact that you're able to say that when you go on a ski trip, it's even, you know, you can learn about yourself because you're learning how to do a sport and you're improving into that sport and you're doing it by yourself. You might be around friends, but your friends aren't on those skis with you.
Yeah, talk about the mindset a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, so after I studied abroad in Austria, I never skied there. I went tobogganing. I never skied before that point. And tobogganing is just sledding in
Tobogganing?
Austria. Yeah, it's just intense sledding, kind of. Not intense.
I didn't know sledding can get intense.
It's not that
Oh,
intense.
I mean,
it's just a long slope.
The sledding is intense all the time. Like, have you tried to steer sledding? Like, it's a
Yeah,
total
I guess
mess.
that's a good point. I haven't been sledding in a while.
I haven't gone since tobogganing, which was a blast. But what we did while I was in Austria was go up to one of the ski resorts.
Oh, wow.
And we took the gondola up and we saw how, oh, look at all the skiers. They're having such a great time. And here's the culture. Here's what they do. We learned all about the culture of St. Anton, which is an incredible ski resort in Austria. And then we went over to this crazy place called Musservert for après ski, which is upper ski in French. It's after skiing. Everyone goes to the bars. So we go to this bar and we're like, yeah, there's no one here. What is this? What are they telling us? Why are we doing it? So we got a tour, and then we come back after the tour, and there's 800 people there. There's servers holding, like, I would say 30 liters of beer in one hand.
Wow.
It was
Jeez.
insane, just crazy partying. And I was like, wow, there's something to this culture. I got to learn how it works in America. So I came back and applied for a bunch of jobs, and I ended up getting a job in Vail.
Nice.
And I was
No
like,
kidding.
wow, let's do it. It's a 3-month position. I'll learn how to ski. I'll learn how people vacation in America, since I learned how they do it in Austria and the mountains. And that's what I did up in Vail. And I taught myself how to ski.
Wow.
And what's the comparison like?
We have better powder, apparently. I didn't ski over there, but our après ski is not quite as crazy as theirs.
Yeah,
They know what
I
they're
would
doing.
assume so.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are times where like it's like festivals or whatever, or it's like a
Nice
high
concerts and whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then it gets really cool. But the truth is, like, see, Americans think they can party.
Americans don't know
They
how
can't.
to party.
They don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
I mean, they
true.
can party, but let me tell you, Europeans, they got it going on. They know how to party.
Yeah.
They definitely do.
Yeah.
I mean, Vail was awesome. We definitely partied, but it's not the same. But learning how to ski is what I was trying to get at, is the mindset. I took one lesson because it came with the pass, and I couldn't afford any more pass and lessons, like $200 a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I learned on YouTube. I found this online ski school.
Get out.
Yeah, and it's this nice British guy, and he just tells you exactly what the next level is. He's like, by now you're probably turning a little bit quickly, and so you have to. He shows you where your path should be, and then you watch these 2-minute videos, and then you go out and practice it. So every day I went out there and was learning this brand new skill by myself. My friend I rode with was a snowboarder, so pretty much all the technique was me just based on this YouTube videos. And there's something really cool about that, about learning a new task. Some would say, wow, you learned late. But I think that I could have learned 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And it's just the fact that we can always learn more.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing mindset.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
huge.
no,
You
that's
have
that's
to.
a big deal.
Right.
A lot of people don't catch on to that. They think like after a certain point, it's like, okay, this is it. This is who I am. It's over. But like I always wish I could prescribe to that, but I've always been like, no, there's always so much more to learn. There's always so many
Well,
new things.
You know, something I sort of realized 3 years ago. I don't know. 3 years ago, I had a mental breakdown a little bit because I didn't
boy.
like the way my life was going. And I changed a bunch of stuff about my life. And something occurred to me, and I want to get both your guys' take on it.
Okay.
So, what occurred to me was that your life doesn't stop, your life doesn't start until you realize that you don't have a lot of time.
Your life doesn't start until you realize that you don't have a lot of time. Well, right off the bat, that sounds very cynical. It sounds slightly cynical.
Well, I mean, let me put it to
Sounds
you.
like Pink Floyd.
I did spend a lot of time listening to Pink Floyd.
Life doesn't start until you realize you don't have any time. Let me rephrase
You don't
that.
have a lot of
You don't
time.
have a lot of
Yeah,
time.
like
Let me rephrase that maybe to sound a little better. Life doesn't begin until you relinquish your fear of death. If you don't have a fear of
Oh,
death,
boy.
you recognize that you
You know
can
what's
live.
funny is I was actually, when we talked about the clock tower, I was thinking about this.
Yeah,
The fear of death it's huge.
it's a big deal. There's fear of being alone and fear of death. I think those are two big ones.
So
if
actually,
not
yeah.
the biggest.
here's something interesting. This week's Parsha, we talk about this week's Torah portion. We talk about all of these early characters and how X guy lived 900 years, X guy lived 1,020 years. But what's really, really interesting to me is like X guy didn't get married and have kids until he was 500 years old, and that was Noah, I think.
Okay.
Noah. And Abraham doesn't leave the home until he's 70 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's this idea behind like the amount of time you give yourself based on how much time you have left.
Jeez, I gotta think about that one.
Huh.
No, so basically what you're trying to say is like this week's Parsha is talking about how these people are all X amount of age, and like you said, Avram didn't leave until he was 70. Obviously, age was a different concept.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But what you're saying is that when you recognize the time that you're running out of time, or time is going to end at some point for you, then it gives you the opportunity to live.
The fact that you know that death is only X years away.
Well, you don't know when it's
Right, but
it's
you
coming.
can approximate it. You
Yeah.
can be like, okay, when I'm 60-something
Brandon's
years
freaking
old.
out.
No, I have a good way to put it. Is
Thank you.
Max has on his wall a bunch of quotes, my roommate, and one of them is "You will die.
Oh yeah.
You are going to die," and that realization, I think, is what we're all getting at, right?
Yeah.
That knowing you need to make the most of the time that we're on this planet. That we should leave behind a legacy. What is our time on Earth worth?
Yeah.
What is our life worth? If we get into a routine, your life can be good. It can be comfortable. It can be easy, but you're going to die, Are
Yeah.
you making what do you want to leave behind? What do you want to do? What do you want to be enjoying and experiencing?
That's always been a question of mine. Is like we all want to have a legacy, and we all have an idea of what we want that legacy to look like. But like when we're actively doing those things, is that what we really want to be doing? You can leave a legacy in so many different ways.
right.
You know what I mean? Like that's something that I would say I struggle with, because I'm always trying to figure out, like, hey, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? How can I do things in a way that I can make the largest stamp on life? You know. But then the other thing is that when he was talking about what he was saying about, like, you start to live when you recognize that you're running out of time. It's like, totally lost my train of thought. Shoot. So it's like, we want to leave a legacy, but then we think to ourselves, but why? You know, if we're running out of time, why should we leave a legacy? As if that makes sense. I don't know.
It does make sense. It's like,
You have no idea what I'm
should I
saying,
be?
do you? He doesn't know what I'm saying.
I usually do know what
Put
you're
it
saying.
in this
so
term.
don't
Should I
even know.
donate $100,000, whatever, to a charity, or should I spend that on a vacation?
Yeah.
Like my life.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I mean, that's
Right.
kind of what I mean. Like that's something that we have to constantly try to figure out. Like we always think we're on the right path, but then something can always tell us. Something can always be like, but am I on the right path? Like, what am I doing? Like, I could read a little bit more. I could exercise a bit more. I could eat a little healthier. You know, what?
No, go on.
I don't know. I'm in a weird headspace right now.
All right, so let me specify a little more. All right.
Okay.
So when I was about 23, I got a wake up call from my brother, and I realized that I wasn't pursuing my goals in the way that I wanted to. And one thing that I didn't do was I wasn't reading enough. I wasn't reading enough of the classics, and I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I took like a real hard look at my reading list, and I was like, okay, there's like 300-400 books on my reading list. I maybe read 12 to 20 books a year. So I'm going to finish all the books on my reading list today in 50 years. That's no good. So it's more like, oh, okay, so I don't have as much time as I think I do. Like, I don't have time to, say, sit down and read every day, unless I decide, oh, wait a second, I have to make time to sit down and read every day. These are the, like, you don't actually do anything until you realize, oh, crap, I'm running out of time. And that's what it is. That's what I mean when I say
Yeah,
that it
yeah.
doesn't
Okay,
start.
so then that makes
Yeah.
sense. So I guess maybe after we went through that little spout, how can you give people like a step-to-step process and
Step-by-step process.
Thank you, step-by-step process and being a little bit more adventurous with their lives? Because, you know, the funny thing is when going back to the skiing, you were talking about how you discuss skiing. I mean, maybe it's because you're from Maryland/Florida and we're from here. But like, I always looked at skiing as like, oh, we're going skiing. It's like a chore. We got to wake up X time, go there, do the thing. You know, it was,
Chore, I think, is a little bit extreme.
no, chore is a bit strong. But I'm saying it's like it's fun. It was always fun doing it. But we were like, but I was never super into it.
Amped
About
I mean,
it.
it's just like this. Before I left Colorado for Israel, I really didn't have an appreciation for the mountains until I had booked my flight. And I was like, oh, man, I'm going to miss these
Yeah,
mountains.
actually, same thing. When I was in Israel, 2 things that I missed. 3 things I missed. No, sorry. I missed 2 things. I missed my family and I missed hockey. We're big hockey fans. But the whole time I would sit there daydreaming about, oh, you know, I didn't go to the mountains that much. I didn't go on hikes. I didn't really enjoy myself on hikes. And it's really, really funky when you go through those certain feelings and experiences. And then you come back home and you're like, oh, okay, let's go do all these things. But
Life.
yeah. So tell us, give us your secrets.
Oh, quick question on that. How much time have you been back up to the mountains since you've moved back here?
Have I gone to the mountains?
We've gone to the mountains, but we like to bike up
Right.
Lookout Mountain.
The Front Range. Come on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's the Front Range. I think we did what, 2 or 3 hikes since we've been back.
I only remember doing one hike.
We didn't. I thought we did one early in the summer.
No, I think we just did the 14er.
All right, at least you did a 14er. I've not
At
done
least
one
we did a
yet,
14er, yeah.
That was brutal.
Yeah, my feet were hurting.
But it's just interesting what we fantasize about when we're not when we're away from a situation. You get back there and you're like, oh, but who has time to go to the mountains?
Exactly.
Yeah.
See,
Man.
I think before you even get to that, I think what's important is that we always want to do these things. Like, what do I want to be doing right now? I want to travel right now. I want to be on an airplane going somewhere. But I know that's not happening right now. I know that maybe that takes certain time. It takes time. It takes work. I have to like save some money up and make a whole plan as to like how I can do that. But I think what people in general and what I can say I get stuck in is that I know exactly what I want to do. I know the end goal. I know that there's an A to B cycle here, right? How can we utilize certain methods to keep our eye on the prize, to keep ourselves in the game when we're stuck in that routine? I think being adventurous has a lot to do with it.
Totally. Being adventurous is not something that some people are born with.
I'm so
it,
glad
right?
I brought us back, by the way.
Yeah.
I think we were back the whole time.
Okay, good.
I've been enjoying this whole conversation,
Okay,
but specifically adventure travel is my goal. That's what I am the most passionate about out of everything, because I think that through adventure, through experiences that you grow from, you can grow yourself in order to that's how you make the world better, by growing yourself. You have to be a little bit selfish. And I don't know if we spoke about this earlier, but one thing I really pray for, they say you can learn all about someone based on what they pray about.
Yeah.
So one of the big prayers I've done this summer is I want to be a prism. I want to be someone who I can experience light. I have these experiences, and I need to get these experiences, and in order to amplify it. A prism amplifies the light that it receives, grows from it, and turns it into a rainbow.
It's also into different colors. Yeah.
Right.
I really like that. I never heard that term before.
Yeah.
Like our whole thing is unicorn, but that's like a unicorn.
Okay.
But like yeah,
rainbows, unicorns.
yeah, that's true.
Sure.
Right? Rainbows and unicorns and butterflies and
Doves.
Yeah.
No,
But that's really cool.
That's next week.
Right.
Yeah.
This week.
Right.
So
this week.
you're basically what you're saying is that you want to be able to live in an experience, really like break it down, comprehend it, and see what you can learn out of that experience, and do whatever you can to shed the light onto others whomever is listening, right?
Right.
Okay.
Because being a mirror is the opposite of it.
So yeah,
you don't absorb anything. Whatever hits you,
absolutely,
they hit, and you get nothing out of life.
So my question is,
Okay, actually,
go ahead.
elaborate a little bit. What do you mean? What's the difference to you between
So-
being a prism and being a mirror?
Yeah, a prism absorbs the light, right?
Yeah.
Absorbs the light and absorbs it and reflects it as a rainbow. Meaning, like, it's done something to amplify the light, work with me.
Change it into something
Right.
else.
Yeah.
Scientifically, it's not amplifying the light, but it's...
Yeah.
Also,
whatever.
whenever you put something in front of a mirror, it's
Listen,
backwards.
we're nerds. We're
That's
not
true, too.
that
Okay.
much of a nerd. We're just kind of nerds.
Which technically, if you think about it on a philosophical...
All right, you guys are ahead of me a little bit. I'm a little confused.
Okay, what do you...
So the mirror.
Right.
What is philosophically
A
speaking?
mirror is someone who's really receiving just to reflect. Basically,
In other words,
whatever they learn, whatever they absorb,
They're reflecting.
it's reflecting. They're not really absorbing any of it. It's straight off of them.
So you're saying they're learning it in order to be bragging.
They're not even learning.
Basically, I think what he's trying to say is they're not really in command of their mental stability and emotional stability.
Someone who's like this is somebody who's extremely selfless to the degree that they don't absorb anything. They're jellyfish. They're not
So here's the thing.
growing.
All right.
You'll get here. Let me explain. Okay, basically,
I'll catch on.
Okay, a prism is you put light in it and a bunch of lights are coming out. Basically, he's having an experience, and those lights are shooting out different directions in which you can
Share
be
your
helpful,
experience
being
with
kind,
others.
and share your experience.
Yeah,
A mirror. What do you see in a mirror? You just see yourself, and not only do you see yourself, you also see everything you put in the mirror. You see backwards.
Okay.
So what that is that you have this internal idea of who you are. And because you're not emotionally and mentally stable, you're then projecting or mirroring whatever it is that's going on internally, which is the fact that you don't have command over your emotions. I
Okay.
think I explained that pretty well.
Yeah.
All right. So
might
in
have to
other
listen to
words,
it again.
So in other words, someone who is mirroring in a situation where they're having an adventure is having the adventure with the goal in mind of telling other people how awesome the adventure
Here, I'll
was.
put it to you this way. No, I'll put it to you this way. Someone who's mirroring in the middle of an adventure is like you watching someone going on a travel video on YouTube, and you're the camera. You're not the people on the adventure.
Oh, which one would you agree
Yeah.
with? Or
Meaning
both?
you're vicariously enjoying it, but you're not enjoying it because you're
All
not
right.
in it.
Or, yeah, let's say you are
took it- I made it
you
really-
are doing something. Let's say you're on a safari and you see your best friend's favorite animal. Let's say it's a giraffe,
Okay.
and you're like, I can't wait to tell him about this giraffe.
Got it.
And you're just remembering everything as it is,
Yeah.
taking pictures of it, actually living through the lens, taking pictures of it, and you're not really enjoying the experience for yourself, thinking how cool it is, but you're thinking about what you're going to tell your friend. And it's something we do
I
on a
dig it.
daily basis.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's a mirror.
You're with us?
Yes. So
Okay.
what you're doing is you're living through other people's excitement.
Ah.
When you're a mirror.
Meaning you haven't given yourself the opportunity to get to know yourself enough to say, oh, I don't like that. I do like that. I want to do this. I'm not so into doing that. That's it, right?
So
Having
this
these
is
experiences that you are growing from.
Yeah,
You're the
exactly.
one learning, and then from what you've learned, you can share that. Oh,
yeah. So
Right.
let me ask you this.
I think-
I totally. Okay.
yeah. I started speaking second.
No,
so
just what
I'm
is it?
gonna
Go ahead. We need you to
I
catch
think
up.
we're getting to the crux of something really important here, and this is a key to self-development. Right. So the goal here is to be a prism as opposed to a mirror. Now it's easy to say that, right?
Right.
It's easy to say, okay, I don't care what other people like. I'm looking for the things that I like.
right.
However, how practically does someone approach doing that?
Okay, that's where I was going.
Well,
Well, he beat you to it now.
I'm just saying, but yeah, I mean, so I'm just gonna add up on that question. So
Sure.
I totally agree with that philosophy, and I also like the fact that you utilize Prism and Mirror, because we talk about this stuff all the time, and that is a great analogy. But so basically, the object of what we're talking about here is learning how to get to know yourself better, to give yourself the opportunity to really enjoy your life and do things that you actually want to do, which until recently I recognized is a very hard thing to achieve. Now, how would you...
beer me.
Okay, here, you're gonna get the can. How would you... Okay.
I don't know.
How would you, if you were giving advice to someone who's a mirrored individual, and by the way, we've all been there, and we're always still there.
Oh yeah.
So,
Totally.
so how would you give advice to someone who is starting, who wants to change their lives? Like, what would you do? What would you tell them?
The first thing I think is the most valuable thing in an adventure is you got to put the phone away. If you're living behind a screen, you're not even a mirror, right?
I dig it. Okay, so as far as
Shabbos is the best.
Shabbos
Shabbos
is the best.
is an adventure
We were,
every single week.
Yeah, we were talking about that on our last podcast, which we just uploaded. Dead time,
Yeah, dead time.
Yeah, I'm writing a blog post about it. But yeah, there's something that is just inherently, it's a vicious cycle of not allowing yourself to have any complex thoughts. It's pretty gross and it's pretty insane.
Also, what the phone does in a way, were you done talking?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What the phone does in a way is that it kind of, when you have your phone in front of you, it's difficult for self-development in the sense that we all recognize, everybody recognizes that they have faults. But because we have a distraction at the palm of our hand, we're more inclined to just disregard that. Just be like, I don't want to know what my faults are. Don't bring me down, man. I just want to watch that YouTube video.
Yeah, and TV is a giant version of that. You
Yeah.
get home and we are so scared of just being bored.
Yeah.
And here's another.
Holy moly,
Yeah,
that's a
we
big
are
one.
very scared of
And
being
bored is a word that my mom actually banned from when I was little. We were not allowed to be bored. We
Well, your
should
mom
find
sounds
something.
really awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome also.
Yeah.
My grandmother says that only boring people get bored. But question for
Yeah.
you. Why do you think it is that it is so hard for people to face their faults?
We don't like to admit what they are.
True.
Oftentimes, it's
People don't want to face the truth.
the thing that the reason that advice of which one's harder, right? When I
Yeah.
studied abroad, which one's harder? It's because the faults that we can conquer easily.
Are
Are
Right.
in your comfort zone.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah,
you have to be independent, and then you have to go to a different country where you don't know anything, you don't speak the language, your faults are right in front of your face.
Oh, yeah.
You have to face that.
And we had experiences. We missed planes. You know, you have these.
Absolutely.
You understand if you're a little bit late on timing or you're bad at
Oh, yeah.
timing.
Yeah, the interesting thing is I lived in Israel for 8 years, and I've been away from home for 16 years, and throughout that whole
saga.
thank you. Throughout that whole saga, you're just like thinking about like you're like, okay, I'm not good at this. Oh my God, what am I eating? Oh, wow, I'm so dirty. I gotta clean things up, and then you start doing things in such a way that you start to recognize how you enjoy to live.
Right.
And that's a big deal. Okay, cool, fine. So let me ask you this. For me, I'm asking you advice, okay? I'm back at home now. I don't know what's going on. Going with the flow, figuring things out as I go. If I'm stuck in a rut, which happens from time to time because I'm in a place of oddities or I don't know what's going
And
on.
beyond that, it's completely natural.
Oh yeah.
People tend to only think about things in terms of the last 2 weeks.
No, I get that. But
Really?
Yeah, it's like a brain thing.
What I'm gonna ask you is what would you suggest if as part of a daily routine, how to be more adventurous? I will tell you, by the way, that I go to the gym every day. I walk my dog at least once a day, and I meditate and I journal, and I'm working and I'm always doing things. So
Sure.
what would if I were you, what would you do?
Well, it's really interesting that the way you worded it. You're asking for advice on how to be more adventurous, and then you said a list of things that you do every single day.
Yeah.
Right. Meaning
Routine versus
routine
adventure.
is
Yeah.
exactly what you described, and to have an adventure on a daily basis means doing something that breaks that routine.
Right.
It may mean going down to the botanical gardens, taking a walk around there, seeing your city in a new light, trying to get yourself in new
Okay,
positions,
cool.
new
I like that.
situations.
All right.
Right.
I like that.
Break that routine.
All right.
I started. All right. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. But I started when I had first come home, and I try to do this. I stopped for the last few weeks. I gotta get back on it. But every Shabbos, I'd go for a walk by myself. Just think.
Those
be
are the
with me.
best.
Yeah.
I've learned
Phenomenal.
more from that than anything else.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And not only that, but my walk would eventually end or begin at a park. And I'd bring like a thing, I'd lie down, and I'd bring a whole bag full of books, sunflower seeds, and water, and I'd just sit there and lie down and just read or meditate or chill. And it was incredible. Can't do it in this weather because it's snowing, but it was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing, and I don't know what compelled me to do it, but I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about Shabbos, like different intricacies. Like I was thinking, like, okay, God wants us to be thinking individuals. God wants us to work, right? If you think about it, being Jewish is part of being like an exclusive club. It's weird. We're all workers, and we all figure out how to do things, and we're learning high-level things, and it's like. If you spend the whole week developing your interpersonal, how you're gonna live your life, and then you have Shabbos where you just let me rephrase that. If you spend your whole life developing how you're going to help your future, right? If that makes sense. I lost the words. I'm just like not But
Sure.
but Shabbos, basically you shut everything down. You have nothing to worry about, and all you have to do is you recuperate and you spend time developing yourself. But you have to put yourself in that mode. I don't think a lot of people recognize that Shabbos in its most simplistic way is for your own personal growth. I don't think people recognize that.
No, of course not.
It's the most important day of the week, obviously, I think, because it's a chance when you get to be with those who are around you. And even if, when I was in Austria, there was no one around me that was
Did you
keeping
keep
Shabbat.
Shabbos in Austria?
Yeah, and I was,
Wow.
my dorm was 30 minutes down from everyone else.
Wow.
So what I did was spend Shabbat by myself. And when you're with everyone 24/7 up until that point, you know,
Right.
you get to really enjoy the day and think and process and
Yeah.
digest everything. So
Yeah. Big time.
yeah, this ties into two things, but I'll share one of them right now and we'll see if the other one comes up. But when you think of a cube, how many sides does a cube have?
4.
No,
No.
cube.
No.
Cube. 2.
A cube.
6. 6.
6. Fine.
Thank you.
So let's actually take every object and you can see 6 planes, right? Top, bottom, side, front, back. But what does it all mean? Like take, for example, your cell phone, which is in the shape of an oblong cube. But what's the whole purpose? There's actually 7 sides. The 7th dimension of it is the actual mechanics that make it
Device,
work, that
yeah.
it does something. In a book, it's the words in the book. It's got 6 sides,
Yeah.
but the 7th is what it's all about. And this is how Shabbat was explained to me once.
No
Oh,
kidding.
that's
That
beautiful.
It's what the whole world was created for. And when I put my tefillin on, I wrap it 7 times. And I say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like I'm creating the week, building up and
that's
digesting,
nice.
making the most of each of the sides.
Oh, wow, I like that.
And each side is so important. You can't have a bottle without a lid, right?
Very cool.
Or a bottom. But what matters is the inside.
That's
and that's
nice.
what Shabbat is.
That's beautiful.
Really,
Yeah.
You're freaking me out right now. That's really cool. I never understood it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Shabbos for me is an opportunity to see the bigger picture. You know, during the week, you know, I work 8 to 10 hours a day for money, and then I work extra for whatever else. And like, you know, the rest of the time I'm either at the gym or sleeping. And then there's Shabbos. And on Shabbos I can think about who I am, where I'm going, why I'm going that way. And it's back to that thing I said, that you live in a 2-week, like your mind is set in a 2-week interval. Like the last month for me has been, oh my God, I can't get anything done. And going into this month, first thing I said to my brother today was like, we need to take more breaks because I don't know how else I'm going to get anything done. And the only reason I couldn't get anything done is because it was only 3 days of a week. So,
Right.
but like it didn't even, like, even though I know that, I couldn't internalize it. And that break is like the difference.
And the holiday didn't give us that break, in my opinion.
I love
The same
No,
that
it
Shabbat
didn't.
does.
No, the holidays are relentless, and it's like
They're
it's
great.
something else.
It is something else. It's not Shabbat.
We actually touched up on this in the last podcast we did where we were talking about the holidays, and like if each holiday was one day, you wouldn't learn anything. It's the fact that there are multiple days, it gives us such an opportunity to really soak in what the holidays actually mean. There aren't
Right.
that many of them, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, we're going on a drought for like what, 8 months?
yeah, and like the thing is like Thanksgiving is a great holiday,
Right.
but it's one day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Okay, we're all thankful today. Tomorrow we can
6
go back
months,
to being
sorry.
not thankful. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's really weird. It's fun. It's kind of funny because a lot of people would complain about Rosh Hashanah as being like, oh, it's the end of the year. Now everyone's being nice to everybody, right? But like,
so cynical.
yeah, it is.
So cynical. Yeah.
It's incredibly cynical, and the funny thing is that people don't even recognize how lucky they are. Like, let's say Thanksgiving is equivalent to Rosh Hashanah. Let's just say
Okay.
Thanksgiving's one day. You
It's
sit
one
down-
meal.
It's one
not
meal.
even-
Yeah, it's not even a day. And half the time you're spending time screaming at the TV watching football.
Right. Again, there's the screen.
Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. So the point is that like you have like if you were to compare Rosh Hashanah to Thanksgiving, people don't.
I mean, compare it to New Year's.
I mean, it's not the same.
But that would be a great comparison.
Even crazier.
Okay.
What is New Year's? It's 1 minute and maybe a party like before and after,
That's
and
true.
then again a TV to watch what the ball's doing in New York.
and the ball doesn't even do that much.
No.
Yeah, I thought it like exploded or something. First time I watched the ball,
I was like,
just like
that's it.
yeah.
Let's go bigger. Let's go with the 4th of July because that one lasts a while. You're watching something that's in
That's
person.
true.
There's fireworks,
that's a
right?
weekend. Yeah.
And that could be a weekend, yeah.
It's on the weekend.
So finally, we're somewhere close. But then, what's the real meaning?
Exactly.
You know, you're watching fireworks and having a beer, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. But it's
Yeah.
not Rosh Hashanah.
Exactly.
I mean, if
like,
on every channel they were like doing the history of the nation, then it would be Rosh Hashanah.
Right. And no one's gonna watch that.
Right. No one's gonna watch that.
but like it's interesting how people would complain about that. The fact that like people are just being nice because they're about to be judged. It's like who cares? You know what I mean?
Right.
You by you saying that you're judging the people who are trying to be nice. Like maybe they're making a change. And at the end of the day, why don't you focus on the fact that you are so lucky that this is a 2-day holiday. You have a 2-day break from life.
Yeah.
God gave you that.
It's a big
He
deal.
gave you the opportunity to say I'm judging you. You got 2 days to figure out what you did wrong. And then when come Yom Kippur time, you got to figure out what to do right.
Right there, that's a mirror, right? When you're praying and you're like reading the Siddur and you're saying, oh, well, this guy did this, this, and this. I can't wait to tell him and like let him know that he's sinning, right? Mirror. What are you doing for yourself? How are you absorbing it so that you can lead by example? So that-
Absolutely.
right? How are you being a prism?
So now, yeah, exactly.
Tie it all together.
So now
Yeah.
let's take it to an even stronger level. What if Shabbos was that opportunity? Shabbos serves as your Rosh Hashanah and your Yom Kippur. To evaluate what you did, you would have just said. He said, "We only think about the things we only think about things that happened in the past 2 weeks of our lives." So you have the opportunity every Shabbos to evaluate what you did, to judge yourself, and then to repent, and then comes Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and you start all over again. I was asking you, but I think we collectively figured it out. If you want to start being more adventurous in your life, you take advantage of Shabbos. And
That's
work
a
your
good-
way up.
That's a good step one.
Put your phone away. Be with the people who are around you. For those who aren't Jewish,
Take the weekend.
we're really lucky to have that day where we're
True.
required to do it, but we get to do it, and other people can do it too.
Yeah.
It's something that's like a really special
Yeah.
experience to have a Shabbat dinner, but it doesn't stop there. To have a discussion after the dinner, to go to services and take the time to learn for yourself, to connect to the Creator, to connect to those around us.
Absolutely.
And then it doesn't stop there, because that's where my Judaism stopped growing up. But to have a Shabbat lunch, and then you have more, and then you have a nap, or you go on a walk,
Yeah, the really
like,
cool thing
and then
about
Havdalah, like it just continues and continues.
I mean, you probably
this
heard this
conversation.
before, but you know the thing about if you're having a meal with people, if you don't discuss Torah, it's as if you're not eating kosher.
I've heard that.
Right.
That's what Shir Amalos is for.
But the great
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the really cool thing is that that's like a prompt. It's like, hey, you're with a bunch of people. Why don't you talk about something that's important?
Talk about interest.
Yeah.
Talk about important topics.
Yeah.
Put some value into the
Absolutely.
discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of halachas are about thinking before you eat, because
Right.
eating is such an animalistic, like it's literally a comedian once said it. It's like saying you're addicted to food. It's like, oh, he just relapsed, because we are. And the thing about food is it's so primal that if you don't stop and like think about it for just a second, you're doing yourself a huge disservice.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
true.
Interesting.
Mic drop.
I like that.
But also, by the way, if you're not religious, if you're not a religious Jew, and you don't have an interest in being religious, then one big thing for me about Shabbos is that no matter what, I'm not working on Shabbos, and that already lifts so much stress from your life. Just don't work on Shabbos.
Right.
Do whatever you want, but if you just make a pact with yourself, like, I'm not gonna work Friday night through Saturday. That's a huge game changer.
Yeah.
And I'm immediately thinking, let's say golf. That's one of the biggest things originally that I was like, oh, I'm going to lose a whole day of golf. What I'm thinking is that ties into everything you were saying. Like every day I go to the gym, every day. That's part of my routine from the week. At that point it was. But taking that day and doing something differently makes Shabbat an adventure also.
Yeah.
So it means like, it's okay to have that one day. Make it an adventure and do something you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, when I was saying those things in my routine and I was asking you about like advice that you would give, I would say that journaling, meditation, and exercise serve as like tiny little breaks slash adventures slash self-improvement aspects.
Totally.
Yeah.
Critical.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like,
and I didn't mean to like cut it down,
no,
cut down the routine.
No, there's no, absolutely
Right.
not. The only reason why I had mentioned it is because I was recognizing that those are kind of luxuries and they're kind of adventures.
They are.
But they are also your
But
routine.
they're also my
you
routine.
have to break
Yeah.
free from it.
Right.
Otherwise, it becomes mundane.
Yeah. And I'll say, I was thinking of this while we were just talking. There's a few things that I do on a daily basis, or on a weekly basis, that are ways to process. So I have a whiteboard in my bedroom, and I write down whatever thoughts I'm having when I have them. But then the journal. So you guys journal? You do.
I
Big time.
I
Critical.
try.
Like,
I'm really
I started this
terrible at
summer,
it.
filled up a whole journal,
Really?
and it's the
How
best.
much time do we have?
For what? Oh, on this?
Yeah.
We're at 55 minutes.
Okay. Do you think we have 5 minutes to discuss journaling, or is that like?
Yeah.
So
But let him finish his thought.
go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, let's discuss journaling. That's where we're going now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair point.
You're saying for your own benefit?
Yeah. So I tried. I read
Okay.
one book that almost got me like into it, and yeah, but I can't do it. Like I write a lot. Like I'm a writer. That's what I do.
Sure.
But like I can't like journaling. I don't know. I just can't do it.
So, do I have time to go grab my journal?
Go for it.
I don't have. It's not going to do any good. We're not.
Yeah, I
there's no
mean,
film.
You can always edit out the space in between.
The point of my journal has no lines, and
oh, wow.
and I think that that's extremely valuable to have a journal without lines. For me, I'm not a writer. I don't just my hand hurts after I handwrite a lot. I can type for a long time,
been
but
there.
handwriting wears you out. But it's nice to have no lines. There's no rules in my journal.
You have free flow for
It can be a recipe book if I want to write a recipe. It can be a picture, an illustration book if I want to draw whatever's on my mind. I can write a poem. But there's no rules. I can write it sideways, upside down.
You're
All right.
He's blowing my mind right now.
I mean,
That's
it's
true.
interesting. I'll tell you
My
my
journals
problem.
have lines.
Okay, yeah, I think most do. But
Yeah, I'll tell you my problem. My problem is that I'm constantly doing research on like several different things, and my journal entries tend to be all about research, which is exactly what my blog posts are about, which is what everything else is about. And it's not like, so like writing it in my journal just seems like a waste.
So, if I may.
Yeah,
okay,
of course.
Cool. So what I journal for, I mean, I honestly hope that I get to the point where I can journal, like, I'm assuming the way you journal, because you have no lines, you have creativity, you can draw a picture or something like that. My hope is to get to that point. But what I journal for is just simply is that I just work through whatever's going on in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if it's sometimes a lot of stuff I'll write page after page after page, and it's totally not coherent. Like after I read it, it doesn't make any sense. It's complete rambling, but it allows me.
That's a great thing too, because then
yeah.
you can see where the noise.
Oh yeah,
is.
no, there are so many times where I was like dealing with some weird insecurity, and I'd say, okay, I gotta write about this, and I'd start writing it out, and then as I'm writing out, because I'm figuring out a way to write it in a structured and orderly fashion, I start to realize, okay, but that sounds stupid because of this, this, and this, and this, and this. It's like, okay, cool, we're good. So like that's
Yeah.
so the
and you
idea.
probably have like 1 or 2 lines in it at some point that are like, that was the answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Every
And then
time.
And I put the pen down and I'm done.
Yeah.
But like basically you have to kind of tap into what kind of a person you are and where you are at life. And it's all about getting to know yourself better. It's about being self-aware. It's about being worldly in a sense where you're kind of you're instead of you're getting rid of all insecurities, whatever people told you that you're stupid or you're this or you're that, you say, no, this is what's going on in my head. it seems really, really weird, and it's bothering the hell out of me. So let me put it on paper so that I can actually visualize it or structurally organize it, so I can say, okay, that sounds stupid. Why am I even thinking that? Or that's brilliant. Oh, wow, this is an interesting revelation. Like, that's what it's about. And then when you start going through the process of just of doing that, and you do it on a consistent basis, there are some points where, like, there were points where, like, for an entire month, every journal entry was a total gem for me. It was perfect. It was like I was so clear, and I was just writing perfectly. You can even tell from my handwriting how calm I was. And it was just, it was euphoric, because I was actually unlocking secrets. You're basically hanging out with yourself. You're having a conversation with yourself. And instead of talking to yourself, which would make, ultimately, I would think would lead to you becoming crazy, you're writing it down. So it's as if you're talking to another being, because it's on an object.
And it's there to go back to, you know.
Yeah. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
Oh, I like to reread my journal
I'm
sometimes.
not there yet.
No, okay.
I'm so not there yet. How many? Yeah, you have one journal?
I have one from last year and one from this year. Yeah.
Wow.
So two and
Don't brag, Sean. Don't brag.
You don't want to know how many.
no. I don't do it every day,
Oh,
but when I
okay.
am in the mood, when I'm thinking, it's just the best thing to have.
I'm still on my first journal. Show him, don't brag.
I pretty much journal every day.
Yeah, so how many do you have?
He doesn't want me to say.
Go ahead. At this point,
Brag it,
it's
let
been
us know.
asked.
Okay, fine. I think it's been about a year. And
Yes, actually, you started journaling when we went to Budapest, which was in October. October 8th, I think,
really?
was when we went.
So it's about a year.
It's
Okay.
been a year and a couple of weeks.
Just so you can understand how crazy I am in the middle of my 5th journal.
Okay, in
Yeah,
1 year.
In 1 year.
It's pretty psycho.
I think that's awesome. It's so valuable, though. I get it.
Incredibly valuable.
It's an extension
I'm
of our
about
mind.
20 pages into my first journal.
You know what, though?
He's so nice and positive that I can't tell if he's judging me or not.
I'm not judging
He's like,
at
this
all.
dude's crazy. Let's wrap this up.
No, not
Grab
at
the
all.
shotgun. But yeah.
This all ties it all together. To tie it all
Yes.
back, since it's been a year since you were in Budapest, and I was
Yeah.
trying to get there with the story. Budapest was Purim when I was there, so it was the day after Auschwitz, and you just see like the devastation of the climax. And then I bring my friends to a Purim celebration
In Budapest?
in Budapest that we got
so
invited to.
cool.
Oh my gosh!
And the beer's so cheap.
Oh yeah, well I mean it was it was included there. So my friends, I'm on my side of the mechitza and they're on their side of the mechitza. So they're separated, and I'm just like, they probably have no idea what's going on. There's groggers and dancing and crazy stuff. And then I get in, and they had a great time. But what I saw was, they had the dancing, and what I saw is that Judaism is alive. Like, it was just the biggest Am Yisrael Chai. Though we were hated for thousands of years, and then the Holocaust was obviously the climax of it, we're still here.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys saw in Budapest, but it was cool.
Well,
Like,
we went through the old city, and
Yeah.
we saw the synagogue, which is huge.
I didn't get to see the synagogue.
So we saw the outside, too.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
yeah,
didn't go
so
inside.
but it's still big.
40,000 florins. It
We
just
want to
seemed
go
like
back.
Maybe
we
20,000
should
too many.
we should totally organize a trip and go.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing. It was, but like our thing with Budapest, and I think this does tie things
I
together. because
love the architecture. That one hike near which one of the spas was it? Where that hike is that really with all the statues.
Oh, I don't remember.
I didn't do any hikes there. I
you
did
go
the
to
red
this-
bus.
You went to the spas at least.
We did the
Okay,
Chechnya
good.
baths.
The Sheshny is the best.
And then we
It's
also
like-
got a tour, since you mentioned hotels there. Right?
Yeah.
Hotels. We got a tour of the opening week of the Ritz-Carlton.
Oh wow,
We saw a hotel room. It was so cool.
that is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, for us, like as far as living adventurously, and actually, we are huge advocates of travel. If people haven't recognized that already, but like that was like my first vacation in 5 years, and I had just started journaling that at that point. Yeah, that's actually when I started journaling.
Yeah.
I had just started journaling, and I was able to like reintroduce myself to who I used to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even when I come home, by the way, and now that I'm home, I'm in the process of reintroducing to myself to who I used to be before I left, which is so beneficial. And we literally just, we were barely on our phones.
Yeah,
We
we,
would
walked
just-
the city like
We walked around. We looked at
So
the
many
architecture.
times.
It was there was so much clarity, so much living in the moment, so much adventurous
And it's a big city.
Remember
It's
when
huge.
we
It's
hung
huge.
out on
And
the
it's beautiful.
bridge? That
and
was great.
relaxing.
Yeah.
We chilled on a bridge. Yeah,
That
it was
great.
amazing.
That was so fun.
And who would have thought? Like, I never, to be honest with you, before we went to Budapest, we never even heard of it. I had to do research and stuff. But when we went there, I was totally surprised. The architecture, how large the buildings were, and it was just, it's the fact that you can live through that art, and also live. It allows you to be more adventurous, to understand your own emotions, your own mental stability, and
And of course, the cave.
yeah, he had to go to the labyrinth and like the castle there. He was
Cool.
crying. He was crying. We had to go. Like, if we didn't go, he'd be very upset.
I would
but
have been
but
pissed.
like it was freaked
God, I
me
missed
out.
that one.
It freaked me out. He was scaring me left and right. But like,
there are a lot of dark corners, and I would jump scare him. Like,
oh,
all the
actually,
time.
here I'll end it on a story.
Okay.
I'll tell you the story. My brother and I were very under the influence. We're just walking in the streets in Budapest.
yeah.
We were completely messed up.
Oh my god!
And we stumbled in the Jewish quarter. We stumbled in this art gallery.
Coolest art gallery of all time.
It's like a hole in the wall art gallery.
yeah.
And I'm staring at this painting, and I can't stop staring at it. And I was like, I love this painting, the colors, everything. I'm just like, it's emotionally like, I'm feeling it. And this guy comes in, and we're just talking to the people who work there, checking out all the paintings. This guy comes in, and they take the painting off the wall, and he's about to buy it. And my brother taps me on the
And
shoulder.
how much was it again? It was. Hold on, I remember the number. It was 700. No.
247,000 florin.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's about 700 bucks.
Okay.
So they take the painting down, and they're like, so I'm like, I went over to the guy, I was like, you buying this? He's like, I really want to. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And he's like, and I was like, wow, yeah, that's really cool. And then Yehuda taps me on the shoulder. It's like, if this dude doesn't buy this painting, you have to buy this painting.
No, that's not exactly how it happened. My brother goes, dang it, I was gonna buy that painting. And then I said to him, if he doesn't buy it, you have to buy it, because you can't just say that.
So lo and behold, they're like, so they asked him, so are you gonna get it? He's like, I want to take it, but I can't. It's too expensive.
So yeah.
So I spent every penny I had on it.
Wow.
And I brought it back here.
Amazing.
And
It's really cool too.
And the thing is that I spent everything I had on it. I spent all my money on it, and I didn't regret it for a second. And I love the fact that I have a memento that can remind me and put me into the situation, put me into the mindset of who I was and what I discovered about myself while on that trip.
Do you remember how hard it was to get the money for that?
Oh my God, we went to one ATM. We could only take out a certain amount. Then we ran to another ATM. It was crazy.
And he had a credit card, an Israeli credit card, that he wasn't allowed to use out of Israel.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
weird.
Okay.
So he had to borrow money from me.
Yeah, but in any sense,
great
like
time.
I never regretted it for a second. I wasn't scared, and I knew that I was gonna figure it out and get back on my feet either way. And I was just it was one of the most thrilling things I ever did. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I think that on a note kind of ends this and describes like what living in the moment can do for you.
Taking advantage of those opportunities. You never
Absolutely.
know when they're going to rise, and that's how you know. You never know that it's an opportunity until you take advantage. You know? Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome. And I did the same thing in Venice.
nice.
I bought a painting over there. It was more than I should have, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really great, and you'll never forget it.
Right.
And now I'm an art collector. It's as easy as that.
It's an expensive habit, though.
So I think we're going to conclude here.
All right.
Thank you, Brandon, so much. I would definitely love to do this again.
Check him out.
And check him. Go ahead.
I don't know what his Instagram handle is.
Oh, it's bfish1093.
There you go.
bfish1093, and your blog is
And I got a blog. It's One Fish, Two Fish, Where is Bfish? It's whereisbfish.wordpress.com.
and some future podcasting.
And future podcasting coming up.
Other stuff too.
yeah, absolutely.
Stay
Okay.
tuned.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to be with you
This
guys.
is a great
was fun.
conversation. I really enjoyed this. We're going to do this again.
All right.
Bye.
Ah!